Okay, so let's wrap up this video series for the family vacation we took back in July. It's going on October now. Okay, so the last video that I made was leaving Rapid City, South Dakota after visiting Crazy Horse and Mount Rushmore and Dinosaur Museum. So let's do a recap on that last day in South Dakota, and we'll tie this all together and wrap it up in a bow, put it in the can. July 17th, we woke up early in the morning because my kids are early risers. They don't let us sleep in. And by 8:30 in the morning, we were at Dino Park. And that was the area where they had the big concrete facsimiles of dinosaurs. Like I said, amazing if you're 4. Not so much if you're 44 or 49. By 10:30, we were at Mount Rushmore. And if you've never been, just go. Just take the time and go. You will never regret going to Mount Rushmore. And while you're there, you might as well go see Crazy Horse. It's only 17 miles away. And if you're lucky and you're in the area and you spend a little time, like say in, Custer National Park or Custer State Park, I guess it is, you might actually see a herd of buffalo. At least I did last time I was there 10 years ago. We didn't go that far this trip around, but it's just beautiful country. So take the time and go. So by noon that day, we were at Crazy Horse, and that's more of a cultural center for the Indian tribes in the area. That's actually owned by the Indian tribes in that area. I forget what tribe it is, but whatever tribe Crazy Horse was from. Whatever. I hate to dismiss it, but I just don't know. So, but it's cool. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot to learn. Not only about the tribes that inhabit that area of the country, but about the sculptors that designed and started that project. And interestingly, that's a 100-year project. They're only half done. It's crazy. How would you start something knowing that you'd never live long enough to see it to fruition? Now you know how some of the church builders back in England felt back in the day, right? So we left Crazy Horse, and by 3 o'clock we were at the Dino Museum, and that was a little spendy, but I guess for what it was worth the money. Brought a lot of joy to my oldest son, who loves dinosaurs. And after we dealt with the ensuing meltdown because we had to leave, we were done. I mean, we've been gone this is now the 17th. We left on the 3rd. We're going on 15 days away from home, and we were ready to sleep in our own beds for a change. So we just made a decision that, let's just go home. Great idea. So we left Rapid City, South Dakota, around 4:30 in the afternoon. And we stopped by about 6 o'clock. I was done. I was tired of driving. I wanted to pull over and get a room. So we stopped in Hot Springs, South Dakota, which is kind of close to the border of Wyoming. And we stopped at this little motel. I don't remember the name of it, but it looked pretty clean. We stopped at this motel, and it was $125 a night. And I wasn't going to pay $125 to stay in a motel, no name motel in a little hick town in South Dakota. It wasn't going to happen. So I just told the wife, well, we'll keep driving and we'll stop. And there's got to be some place where there's a Super 8 or a Motel 6 that's less than $125 a night. That was my first mistake. I should have boned up and paid the $125 and stayed at that place, because it was certainly better than the place that we did stay. And I ended up driving all the way to Rawlins, Wyoming, before we found a place to stay. And between Rawlins and Hot Springs, South Dakota, there's nothing. It's barren wasteland. There's little towns dotted here and there, but there's nothing in the area. And we literally drove from 6 o'clock. We drove another 6 hours before we got to Rawlins, and it was mostly through secondary roads, divided highways and 2-lane little roads in the middle of nowhere. We're about to intersect with Interstate 80. We pulled into Rawlins, and was literally, I could see the on-ramp about a half a mile up the road, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a vacancy sign, and without even tapping the brake, I did a U-turn in the middle of that street, and I headed in there, and my wife's like, "What's going on?" So we pulled into this hotel, and it was fortunate for them that we pulled in at midnight, because if I'd saw this place in the light of day, I'd have kept driving. And my first clue should have been that when we got our key, it was an actual key. It wasn't a card, or a key card, or an SD card. It was an actual brass key. And when's the last time you've been to a hotel where they actually gave you a brass key to get into the door? And so we walked in the hotel room, and the place was hideous. I mean, but we were tired, and we just said, screw it, we'll just sleep, and we'll deal with it in the morning. We didn't take our clothes off. We didn't take our shoes off. We didn't get under the covers. We slept on top of our beds and left the kids fully clothed and everything, and we didn't take a shower. We just slept hard, slept fast, got up in the morning, and got the hell out of Dodge. And we laugh about it now, but we weren't too happy about it the next morning when we got up. It wasn't $125 at night, though. It was about $50, so you get what you pay for, right? So we drove out of Rawlings, Wyoming, and we drove a town or two down the road off Interstate 80, and we pulled into Rock Springs, Wyoming, to get fuel. And while we were there, let's get something to eat. So we pulled in, and I want to give a shout out to this establishment because they treated us so kindly. Because we were grumpy and grouchy, our kids were making a bunch of racket, and of course my kids are messy. They're little kids. They tend to wreck things wherever they go. They leave a pile of destruction in their wake. And this, I wish I'd have wrote her name down. If you're ever in the area and you stop in, send them a link to this video. Tell them I appreciate what they did for us because they treated us like royalty there. And this little restaurant's name is Lou's Family Restaurant, L-E-W-S, Lou's Family Restaurant. They're located in 1509 9th Street in Rock Springs, Wyoming. Little family restaurant. It's one of those places where they have kind of a clique clientele. You know, everybody knows everybody by their first name. It's that kind of a town anyway. But when we walked in the door, they treated us like we were family, and they treated us well. They made sure that our kids were taken care of, and I like I said, I wish I remembered to write down the gal's name that took care of us because she was a peach. She was a good egg. So if you're the owners of Lou's, you need to take care of your waitresses because they treat your customers well. Food was okay. I mean, I wouldn't say about anything bad about the food. It was typical restaurant fare, but it was really the service that I wanted to highlight. So that was pretty much it. It was a straight shot all the way down I-80 into Salt Lake and down into Vegas and across the hump to Pahrump. And we were back home by I think 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the 18th. But it was kind of an interesting escapade there in Rawlings. In Rawlings, Wyoming, at the Express Inn. That place was a dive, man. In fact, I'm going to give you the GPS coordinates right now, and you can lock that into your GPS or put that as a highlight on your Google Earth program to avoid. That's a black hole in the middle of the United States. Unless you absolutely positively have to stay there, don't stay there. Here's GPS coordinates. 41 degrees, 47 minutes, 12.71 seconds north latitude. 107 degrees, 15 minutes, 18.13 seconds west longitude. There's your GPS coordinates. Look it up on Google Earth. Might not look that bad, but that place was a shithole. So that concludes the family vacation. I wanted my wife to kind of give some of her thoughts, but she's shy, and we're kind of like-minded. So it was a good time. I wouldn't change it for anything. Even that last night, I guess I was still with some of the most important people in my life that I would cherish the time I spend with them, and we were together. It doesn't matter. We could have slept on the ground, I guess, and it'd been all good. But yeah, that was some spooky shit right there, man. But that concludes the video series for the family vacation. And if you're ever in Rock Springs, Wyoming, stop in at Lou's Family Restaurant, 1509 9th Street. They'll take care of you. So, if you haven't done so yet, go on down here and click on the subscribe button. That just sounds like one big long fart. You know what? I would much rather listen now. 2 strokes. 4 strokes sound like dung. So, if you haven't yet, go down here and click on that subscribe button, or is it over here? I forget. I'm looking at a viewfinder. I'm always pointing to the wrong corner. It's in one of these corners. Subscribe button. Go ahead and click on it. If you're so inclined, go ahead and comment down there in the comment section. Give me a thumbs up or not. I don't care. It's up to you. I prefer these, but I'll take these. Like I got a choice, right? And until next time, you have yourself a splendid day. And I'll catch you on the next video. Okay? See ya. Have a great day.